Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the IYT, and the USO, and possibly a couple of other ones. So let's start with the SPY, daily, weekly, monthly time frames. We're looking at the daily right now. We're above the moving averages, bullish pattern, hits the MA, starts to break up. We close above the all-time high. On Monday, Tuesday, I want to see what the closes are, and I'd like to see more volume for this to push up. On the weekly, same scenario. We close above the all-time high. I want to see confirmation next Friday when this candle closes if we're going to continue to move up, or do we have a reversal and come back in and move down. Monthly chart, above all the moving averages, breaking out above the all-time high. It closed. Let's see if we could close above this candle on the monthly, so we have a whole month to wait for that close. But going back to the daily, we talked about the up move. I think this thing can possibly get to 219, 220, then 223 to 225, and then we'll have to reevaluate this one to see if it could possibly move up and wait for pattern or some sort of a setup. If we go straight up into this area, then you're looking to short right in here. If you're already short down in this area, you want to add to your position as well. In these markets, you always have to be taking the right size position and always willing to add. Let's look at the daily time frame again. That's what we're at. But one more thing I want to explain here. If this pattern fails and this thing starts to break down a reversal, in a reversal with volume, we're looking for a close below the 20 MA with confirmation, then it hits the 50, then possibly get into the 200 moving average, filling the gap down here, filling the gap down here as well. We have a gap here as well too. Looking at the weekly, if this starts to break down, next week we're looking for a close anywhere in this area, possibly around 215, 214 area. And if it closes down there, then we're going to look for more selling pressure. I would say first stop would be 20 MA around 210 or so. And then we're just going to stair step down. We'll still wait for pattern, see how this thing sets up. But at this point, if this pattern breakout doesn't happen, we're going to reverse and possibly go lower. Monthly chart, same thing. We'll have to wait for the end of the month. Qs. A little bit different pattern on the daily. We're just floating up, following the MA. We're a little bit off of it. So let's see if this thing can possibly come back down and kiss it, and then maybe move up or possibly move down. Right now we're in a bullish stance. We're above the MAs, but we had a nice retrace, so maybe a little more into this area and then a pullback. If it doesn't pull back, we're looking to recapture this high at 118.80, I believe it is. And then we'll possibly move up to the 120, then maybe 125 at the most. But I'll have to look at this chart a little bit closer if we start heading towards this direction and getting higher. Now, if this thing reverses and starts to move down, you're going to have some support around the 113.70, and I think we could go back to the 50 MA around 110.32, and then we'll reevaluate this chart, see if it sets up in a bearish pattern, bullish pattern, and then we'll keep an eye on this. Weekly, same thing, closed above the all-time high. Let's see if we get confirmation next week on Friday's close. And the monthly, still above the all-time highs. Let's see if we can stay, or do we reverse and have a nice topping tail and then we come back in. So really time will tell the story with this, with all the charts, and then just looking at them and trying to figure this thing out. Let's go to the IWM. And the one thing I want to explain about the IWM is that we had the same pattern as the SPY. We started breaking out though, we came back in, and that's when it kissed the 20 MA, and that's when it popped. So we had 3 days up into an area of resistance up in there. So now we're just going to see how this thing reacts at this point. Is it a breakout or a fake out? We still have a lot of resistance coming up around 123.45, and then maybe a little bit around 125 because it's an even number, and then possibly 127, then gap fill 127.59. But we're going to have to wait and see. The one thing I want to point out on this chart for you guys, it's lagging. The IWM should be leading. Everything else is making the all-time highs, and this one is lagging. It should be at 135 right now, just leading the charts. Or do we get that one last blast off? The SPY and everything starts to follow in, and then this one rolls over and starts going over. So we'll watch this one very, very closely. We're at 123.57, next area of resistance. But again, it's trying to break out off this bullish pattern on the daily chart. So let's see if this continues up next week. If it doesn't in reverse, we'll be watching the volume as well. We come back in, then we'll find areas of support where this thing can possibly bounce. And that is the IWM. Again, lagging, not good. The DIA, I don't really follow this one, but we could take a quick look at it. Same thing. This one actually had a pretty good pattern. I'd like to see still more of a wedge. I don't like this little rainbow deal. But again, look what they did. They got it above the MA. We never got below, never confirmed. Captured it. Now we're going for the highs. And have some resistance right in here. Let's see how it reacts there. If not, it's going for the 52-week high. And we'll see if it can pop through or what have you. Again, we're at all-time highs. If these patterns fail, we're going to go down pretty quickly. So just be aware of that as well. Weekly, actually setting up in a bullish stance. We only have 3 weeks. I'd like to see another couple weeks before it starts moving up, but not bad. Not bad at all. Monthly, we're above that high there last month. I want to see another close and a little more continuation. This is the monthly, so we get a little more time on this. But again, if it closes above this, I think we'll get a little more upside. If it reverses and closes below this low, we could possibly see some selling. Daily chart, still above the MA, still strong. Let's see what happens next week. Next week's going to be a big week. Let's go to the IYT. I'm going to start off with this one lagging again, like the IWM. You know, this one should be leading. It's not leading again. It's just chopping around. It is a bullish pattern inside bar on the monthly. Let's see if we can get above this 20 MA at 143.58. But let's go to the daily. I know I'm skipping around here. But came back in. I wish it would have popped right there, but it didn't. It actually dropped. It got below the MAs, but never confirmed below all the MAs. Popped up. They tried to save it today. I mean, we closed right on top of it. Let's see. It closes 141.30 on the 20 MA, and the SPY closed at 141.36. So a couple pennies above it. So they saved it. So next week on the daily, we'll see where this thing closes or recaptures. But then you'll have some resistance up in this area. And then, of course, double top. The weekly chart, still lagging. We did get above this trend line, which was interesting. I was talking about this inside bar and these moving averages. We had support in here from the 382 as well. So it tagged this trend line down in here. We got the bounce. They closed it above all the MAs, and they saved it. For this one to continue moving up, it's got to get above this bar, 144.40 or so. And then, of course, this level here, 145.85 to 146 or so. Again, a little bit bullish. We're above the MAs. They're trying to break them out, but still lagging. Not good for the markets. Let's look at the USO. USO still trying to move up. I like this follow through. This is the daily chart. Nice follow through. We closed above this candle. We had some more follow through. We closed above that candle. Now we're waiting on pattern to see if it goes sideways to move up, or do we reversal down and do an inside bar to move down. I still, you know, maybe up into this 20. You got a gap fill here too for a nice little retrace. You know, get everybody on board again and then suck them back down. Weekly chart's not bad. We're right into this big area down in here with support. I would have loved to have filled that gap at, I think it was $9.11, $9 area, even the 885. But at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to make it there right now. I think in the future you can see it, but we're going to have to see how this thing reacts on the daily time frame to see what's going on. I want to see a little more follow through and then possibly more upside. But if this thing moves up into the 1126, 1161 area, I think you can short it. But we still have to look at it again once it starts moving that direction. That's the USO. So right now it's making a move up, but it's still in a bearish stance to possibly move lower. If it does go lower, though, I think we're going to hit the 885 and then double bottom. And I think we could go a little bit lower, possibly to 664. So write that down, 664. That's USO. Let's go into ExxonMobil real quick. Nice breakdown the last two weeks or so. Now it's trying to hold up. Inside bar pattern. This is the line in the sand. Needs to get above 88.16, and then I think it continue up to fill the gap or gaps, and then hit these, and then you could possibly short this. We'll have to see what the overall markets are doing. But right now, this is weak. We're going to test this, and at the 200, we can test it too. But if we have a nice inside bar bearish pattern, I think we can blast through that. And then if the markets are selling, that's it. Weekly, nice reversal. We closed below this green candle. Not good. They need to get it above this 20 MA and recapture it and get it going. Keep an eye on this one for that. Next week will be the close since it's the weekly. Monthly, a little bit bearish. I mean, it's kind of a neutral stance, but this reversal candle here, and then we had a little bit of follow through. We have a little tail, but this is the beginning of the month. We'll see at the end of the month where this thing closes. If this thing closes below this tail, then we're probably going to look for more downside. But that's a monthly close, so we'll see where we're at. You know, it's not the worst chart in the world, starting to break down, bearish, but you got to keep your, if you're long in this, you know, stay buoyant in it, and because it could possibly move a little bit lower. Apple, you know, again with that one too, ExxonMobil not leading. And I'm just going to go through these real quick. Apple not leading, one of the leaders. Inside bar monthly, coming into this trend line now. So we're going to see how it reacts. This is the weekly. And still we're at the 750 retrace. I want to see it close above this and then possibly get to the 112.33 area. If it gets up there, I would short this one. If you're short already from down here, I'd still add up there. Just make sure you have money management so you could go into a full position by the time you add 3 times or add 2 times, add 4 times. But that's what I'm looking at. It could possibly get to 120. But again, we'll see how the markets are reacting at that point. And then JPM. JPM, same stuff. Daily bullish, micro bearish. Hit the 20 MA. They popped it up today. We're into this double top. We'll see if it can continue up. If it does, I'm thinking maybe 69, maybe in these pivots, you know, 67, 68, anywhere up in this area, you could think about shorting it. And even in here, it's a great short, even down in here. So just use money management. These are markets where they're pushing stuff up and down. So if you're going to do 100,000, you know, dollars worth, go 20, 20, 20, 20, you know, and 20, or do 20, 20, you know, 40, and then whatever you have left, or 30, you know, just be safe. Just take the money that you make, be happy, and then move on. And let's look at, we can look at Priceline. We were talking about a gap up and a fade, and that's pretty much what it did today. Let's see if it could get some momentum with the markets possibly. But if this one starts to fade, I think that's it for Priceline. We'll see where it goes. We took a position after hours at 1440, like 25. So we're doing pretty good. We take real small positions in these because it's such a big stock. But we're looking pretty good so far. If it goes up, we'll probably stop out around 1500 or so. But, you know, we'll give it a shot. If the markets are weak, I think this thing can come right back in. That's Priceline. On the weekly, went up to this trend line. We still have a gap to fill around 1450. Let's see if we can get up there and make it happen. But we hit this key trend line as well, and that's a big one. If it gets above there, I want to see confirmation. And plus, we have this big breakdown bar too. So it's going to be really tough for this thing to get above the 1476 area. But it's still Priceline. Anything can happen. So, all right, guys. I think that's it. Happy Friday. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you're learning from something. If you have any questions, email me, stockbookie@gmail.com. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible if you want me to look at some TA on some other chart or what have you. Again, thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. See you on the charts.